There has been an over 15% increase in condo sales here in Vancouver, but an 8% decrease in condo listings. Could this be the shift we've all been waiting for? Will prices start going up? Well, we're going to find out in this video as we review the condo and apartment stats for February 2025 here in Greater Vancouver. We will break down sales trends, price movements, and market drivers so you can make an informed real estate decision. And we're going to break this video into 3 sections. First, we're going to look at the sales and listings numbers. Then we're going to look at pricing trends. And then we're going to look at external factors, what this means for buyers and sellers, outlook, etc. So let's get into it. The very first section, sales and inventory trends. We're going to look at sales month over month and year over year. And then we're going to look at inventory month over month and then year over year. So we get a macro look at the market and then a wider overall trajectory of the market. So first of all, let's look at sales year over year. So condo sales in February 2025 reached 976 sales. This is a 10.6 decrease from the 1,092 sales there were in February 2024. So we are seeing an overall decline year over year. This is likely due to higher borrowing costs and a shift in buyer sentiment. Because although we've seen more inventory and fewer sales over the past year, pricing hasn't changed too much, and we're going to look at pricing in the next section. But as affordability concerns continue to persist, it means that buyers will continue to wait for prices to potentially drop. When we look at the overall sales volume though, we are seeing that condos are still a popular option for investors and first-time home buyers. And although they started cutting rates last year, it seems like buyers are really waiting for rates to come down enough to where their mortgage and monthly payments aren't so high. And with anticipated rate cuts later on in the year, as soon as this March 2025, it would make sense that buyers are waiting for this to actually happen before making a move in the market. Again, you don't want to buy too early when rates are still going down and you can get a better price on your mortgage. But let's take a look at the macro lens, the macro picture. This is the sales month over month. And we can see that sales have increased by 15.4% month over month. So this is 846 sales in January 2025 to 976 sales in February 2025. This is a sign that buyers are slowly regaining confidence as we head into the spring market, especially if financing conditions continue to improve. It is starting to seem rates are in a range where buyers are comfortable with them, and they are seeing that there's more selection on the market, as we're going to see in the listings numbers here in a sec. But more affordable mortgages, lots of options, and deals on the market, room to negotiate, seems like it's having an effect on buyer sentiment in the market, and it seems like we're starting to see some buyer demand. Okay, now let's look into listings. Again, we're going to look at year over year and month over month, but starting with the year over year listings for February 2025, there were 2,684 apartment listings. This is a 7.6% decrease from February in 2024, where there were 2,905 listings. A decline in inventory could mean less competition for sellers, which may help prevent further price decreases. The same thing with buyers, how they are expecting interest rates to drop, so that's why they're potentially holding off on making a purchase. Sellers are doing the same thing. If you have the luxury to wait around and time the market where you can maximize your net proceeds, it would make sense to list in a market where buyers are making purchases and able to afford more. So active listings decreased from 2,905 listings in January 2025 to 2,684 listings in February 2025. This is a 7.6% decrease month over month in listings. A drop in listings means buyers have fewer options, which could stabilize pricing in the coming months. With inventory tightening, sellers who price competitively may see quicker sales, and we are seeing this with the buyers that I am working with. If you are priced competitively, you're seeing actually multiple offers in some scenarios. But if a listing is overpriced, we are seeing they're staying on the market for over 60 days. I believe this is the case because if you are a slightly overpriced listing, you'll be continue to get undercut as these listings that are lower priced are sold and replaced by other listings that are priced correctly. Buyers always have new options at lower price points, and that's why more expensive listings are sitting on the market right now. But now let's look at how the sales and inventory, the supply and demand, is affecting the pricing change. So we're going to look at pricing trends, benchmark price to be specific, in both the year over year change and then again month over month change. So starting with the year over year change for benchmark price. So the benchmark price for February 2025 is $747,000. This is down 2.8% from $769,000 in February 2024. So a 2.8% decrease indicates a slight market correction, but prices actually remain pretty stable, especially when we're seeing the decrease in both sales and inventory year over year. The benchmark price year over year hasn't changed too much. We can really feel this slight drop in price because sellers right now are pricing aggressively to capture buyer information. Because sellers right now are pricing aggressively and in the market to be able to capture the most buyer attention. And it's just a matter of time before this starts to show up in the housing price index. This downward trajectory in price is a good sign for buyers who have been waiting for more affordable entry points into the market. This could be the time. And now looking at the month-over-month change in benchmark price, there is only a 0.1% decrease, so very small. The benchmark price in January 2025 was $748,000. And again, it was $747,000 in February 2025. So very minimal market movement. So it seems like the market is in a bit of what we call a holding pattern. Although there are a lot of listings available in the attached market, we are seeing buyer demand remain fairly stable, where if a home is listed for a good price, it is coming off the market. But if buyer activity picks up in the spring and this momentum continues, we could see price stabilization or even a modest increase in pricing over the coming months. Now let's look at the sales to active listings ratios. This is a ratio of number of sales in any given month to the number of active listings in a month. And this gives us an idea of whether we're in a buyer's market or a seller's market. So the sales to active listings ratio for apartments is 16.8%. This is up slightly from January 2025, where it was 16.5%. So we were in a balanced market in January. We remain in a balanced market here in February. A ratio between 12% and 20% indicates a balanced market. If we're over 20%, it's a seller's market. A lot of homes being sold given the inventory. And then if we're under 12%, it means that homes are staying on the market for longer. We have over 8 months of inventory. So balanced market conditions are really good because buyers are able to have a decent selection and then sellers are still able to get a fair price. Both buyers and sellers have time to make decisions, the fair decisions and the right decisions for themselves and their families. But this means that pricing will remain fairly stable with minor fluctuations. But if demand increases, we may see ratios push closer to a seller's market in the coming spring. It all depends on supply and demand. So section 3, key market drivers. What is influencing supply and demand? So first of all, who is buying? Well, the buyers we're seeing in this segment of the market, February 2025 condo market update, we're seeing a lot of first-time home buyers, we're seeing a lot of investors, and we're seeing a lot of people upsizing, seeking affordability and convenience. So the two main things we're seeing, first of all, with interest rates coming in 2025, some already happening right now, we are seeing buyers trying to get ahead of the market because they're anticipating a busier spring and fall market, they're anticipating prices going up, and they're expecting more competition. Right now, buyers have a lot of selection. We're able to get good subjects on properties. We're able to negotiate a lot of different terms, subjects to sale, which don't really happen in fast-paced markets. We're getting them accepted right now. These are the buyers who are buying right now. And these buyers include both first-time home buyers that have been waiting to get into the market and also investors that are seeing good opportunities right now. I'm working with a lot of investors. They're hesitant to pull the trigger, but as soon as the right deal comes across their plate, they're able to see it and take the opportunity. Now, who is selling? Well, we're seeing some investors actually sell, liquidate their properties, and move them into different product or opportunities. So people that are looking to sell their condos and get into the townhome market. Right now, with pricing being a little bit depressed, is a slower market favoring buyers, so buyers are able to negotiate good terms and get really good prices. We're seeing a lot of people take this opportunity to upsize because even if prices are down in all market sectors, if you're saving money on the more expensive purchase and losing the same percentage on your, because if you're saving a certain percentage on your purchase of the more expensive property and then you're losing that percentage on your sale, you're actually netting the difference, meaning this is a good market to upsize in. On top of that, with all the selection that buyers have, when it does come time to upsize, they really have some good options that they can pick, whether they are a growing family and they want to be in a certain school district, or if they have different lifestyle needs that they want to accommodate, right now is a really good time. One thing we are seeing is that inventory is continuing to increase. I know there was a month-over-month decrease, but there's still quite a bit of inventory for the amount of buyers active in the market right now. So we are seeing some downward pressure on pricing in the market, but we will see how that changes going into the spring market, because these numbers are showing that there could actually be some upward pressure on pricing, and it could actually shift into a seller's market instead of the balanced market we're seeing right now. Now, looking at rates and financing, the Bank of Canada has hinted at multiple rate cuts in 2025. There's a 25 basis point expected cut in March 2025. So this could actually have a big impact on market activity, especially coming into the spring market, which is historically the busiest time for real estate transactions. So as rates decrease, of course, more buyers could enter the market because their monthly payments become more affordable. Buyers who have been waiting for a good entry point into the market could see these lower interest rates as a good time. And then the lower cost of borrowing typically increases home prices. And this continual decrease in interest rates could actually drive sellers to list their homes in the market because they're expecting price gains and profits in what could be a more competitive seller's market. The big one includes strata fees. Everyone hates paying strata fees, and a lot of people that are looking to upsize, I found, are considering some half duplex options without strata fees. But I am always seeing, especially in a market like this where buyers have a lot of selection, any condos with extremely high strata fees are being avoided. I have a buyer who actually found a really good home, but the strata fees were almost double what they were seeing in the market. This was like a $700-ish strata fee, so $700 every single month versus the $350 we're seeing typically for condos of a similar size. Of course, one condo has a pool and all these amenities, but is it actually worth the extra $350 when we have so much selection on the market? We are able to find stratas with great amenities for half the monthly cost. We'll see how this changes in the coming months, but right now with a lot of the selection, this is what we're seeing. So conclusions, recommendations, and market outlook. So for buyers, more inventory of course means better selection, more negotiating opportunities, and better prices. With potential rate cuts coming in 2025, you could buy now, avoiding competition down the road if interest rates begin to drop even further and more buyers start to enter the market. One good consideration for buyers is looking at new developments and the opportunities that are presented right now. There are so many good deals on the market. Typically, you'll see developers start promoting flash sales and quick deals when the market is slower like this, because they want to incentivize buyers to purchase a pre-construction project instead of buying the cheap product that's on the market right now. Now for sellers, of course, pricing properly and pricing sharp is crucial. The market right now is balanced, it's not overheated, buyers have a lot of options, and it is the homes that are priced competitively that are selling. Now is not the time to overprice just to see what happens when you're being undercut by new listings priced properly week over week. Spring could bring more buyer activity and therefore higher prices for sellers. Time will tell. And speaking of that, let's look at the market outlook in the short term and the long term. In the short term, balanced conditions will help stabilize prices. Right now, we're seeing good opportunities for buyers. But in the mid to long term, with potential price increases on the horizon if interest rates continue to drop, we may see the market shift to favor sellers, but it all depends on supply levels. Is the condo market a good buy right now, or should you wait? Let me know in the comments. If you found this market update helpful, please like and subscribe. It really means a lot. I put out market update videos every single month, and I've still got a townhome market video and then also a detached home market update video, so be sure to check out those. Check out the comments for a link on what not to do when buying a condo, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.